Hello and welcome to Bend the Knee, a Song of Ice and Fire podcast. I am Sir Matt, the Bud Knight.
And I am Sir Ezra, the Watchful. Welcome to our Song of Ice and Fire book club. Today we are into the last chapter in a Game of Thrones. We're going to be discussing Daenerys today.
I think it's Daenerys 10, chapter 72.
Crazy, man. Crazy that we're here.
Man, it's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
It's crazy to think about. I mean, this is it. This is the last episode.
That's it.
Of this book. And then we still have 4 books to go, plus if he ever finishes.
Plus the TV show. Plus you're stuck with us forever, so...
So, not really the last episode. But it is the last episode of the first book. And that's an accomplishment, in its own right. So...
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, should we have like a party or something, or...
Well, yeah, I mean, we've kind of, I think we should. We should probably play the drinking game that everybody's been working on.
We are gonna have to.
We're gonna have to. Have you seen some of the things on
that? We're gonna be able to do that on the Discord. So we have some news to talk about here. And maybe hanging out on that Discord is where we can do a drinking game.
Yeah. So okay, can I hop into the news?
Just jump into it.
Okay. So here's the thing. This is the last episode of Game of Thrones. We just got off of Discord. We had a great conversation. We had Maglum was in there. Sir Peter was in there. We had Sandy in there as well. So a couple folks hopped in and we're chatting with us in Discord before the show because we're working on a little, sort of a pre-show Patreon series where basically before every episode, Sir Matt and I we shoot the shit. We're just talking and hanging out beforehand, and so we thought we would go on there and start recording that and take it to the next level. People get a chance to influence the show that way. They get to influence the pre-show, maybe get our minds, because we're always kind of thinking about something before we get into the recording, right? We're always, so I think it's kind of cool for some of our bannermen and our sworn swords and the Night's Watch to get in there and just influence Sir Matt and Sir Ezra. So, yeah. Anyways, but with that, let me back up here a little bit, though. We have a freaking production company, okay? Because we've been talking about all these different things that we want to do, and, we're working on getting stuff ready, and Clash of Kings is going to be, different, and it's going to be, we're adding to the podcast, we're perfecting things, and we've kept saying that we're working on stuff. So now here we go. Here's some of the stuff that we've been working on. We're gonna lay it out here, so make sure you're paying attention. So we got the old production company. Not a joke, my friend. It's not a joke. Literally, that is the name of the production company. Not a Joke Productions. So back off us, Get off us, right? I mean, get off us. I know they're listening, okay? And I know that the people have been waiting for this. And we have certain people out there who think it's funny, okay? And to those people, I want to say it's not a joke. So here we are. But check out we got a YouTube channel. Go check it out, Not a Joke Productions. Literally just type that into YouTube. The email for that is notajokeproductions@gmail.com. It's pretty straightforward. You notice when you get there that the banner is black and white because it's straightforward, right?
It is. Yeah. I mean, hey, it's not a freaking joke, man, okay? So people say, people are like, you guys just do this stuff? You guys just podcast? You guys just... Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. Okay? So back off, all right?
Yeah.
So anyways, please go check that out. Please subscribe. There's going to be a new video coming next week, actually. So we got a couple surprises on that channel. They're going to be... We're going to have videos there about Game of Thrones, about Star Wars, and about Wheel of Time, okay? It's happening, right? Let the dragon ride again on the winds of time. It's happening.
People have literally been asking us, and I mean literally been asking us for over a year, hey, when are you guys going to start a Wheel of Time podcast?
Yeah.
When are you guys going to start a Wheel of Time podcast? And we were like, I don't know, man. Maybe someday. Well, that day is January 1st, 2020, so stay tuned.
Yeah, Nicole Whitaker, one of my friends who's been listening to all of our who's listened to a lot of our projects, has been asking me since the beginning, Wheel of Time, let me know when you're starting it. I got her hooked into the series, and she's been reading it, and she's just in love with it. So you were asking about it on a plane, randomly on a plane, just like you got into the discussion, and we're basically told that should be the next step we take from a complete stranger. So that was cool. That was cool. But yeah. So anyways, we'll get there. That's the plan. So get excited for that. We were talking to Sir Peter on Discord about Wheel of Time and just how cool it is. I got people asking about it on Twitter. And,
I mean, it's actually, I mean, when you think about like the fantasy series, you think, well, you got Game of Thrones, you've got Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, all these things. There's a lot of similarities between a lot of these things as well, and a lot of stuff where you can look and say, oh, this character is similar to this character, and I mean, especially when you look at, Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. I mean, and Song of Ice and Fire. There are a ton of similarities and things pulled from it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean, it's so I think people, if you like, as you said, Lord of the Rings, high fantasy, whatever. If you like this,
you're gonna like Wheel of Time.
Yeah, you're gonna love it. We were trying to talk, I think, Maglam into it, and he's I think he's willing to give it a shot. We were talking about the Last Airbender and how channeling and basically bending of the elements or whatever whatever you do in that series is. They're kind of similar. So
well, I mean, yeah, Avatar: The Last Airbender is like Captain Planet. I mean, it's without the heart. So
yes, oh give. Oh gosh. But no, anyway, so yeah, the couple of updates there. So we got the production company, Not a Joke Productions. We've got Wheel of Time podcast. We've been working on those two things, and they're in their infancy, but we're working on them. We're getting them there, so you can go check those out and start to support those projects. And then we've got a couple. Updates for the podcast. We got some Bend the Knee specific updates that we want to go over with you guys real quick. First of all, we have a website. We got a website.
We do.
Why don't you tell me about the website real quick?
It's pretty cool. It is bendthekneepodcast.com. Sir Jimmy has been he just literally volunteered to make us a website, and we were like, absolutely. We've been working on it with us for, probably like 2 months. And I mean, it's awesome to say the least. And you can actually go there, and all of our podcasts episodes are there. There's links to everything we have, and there's actually a place to just send a raven. So if you it's probably going to be the far more streamlined way of doing it, because sometimes people send us messages on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or Gmail or Podbean messages, or some people leave ravens in iTunes reviews and all these different places. Well, now it's like you can clearly just go to this website, you can click Raven, you can type it in, and you can press send, and we get it, and should streamline everything. Yeah.
So somebody has my address, and they've been actually sending a raven, an actual like raven with a letter, with a tied on letter. So we got to cut that crap out. I mean, it's cool, but we're gonna try to streamline it.
It's loud. It's quite loud.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. The pecking on the window, it's nuts. So we have a website, bendthekneepodcast.com. Shout out to Sir Jimmy. Thanks so much. He's an awesome dude. He's also jacked out of his mind. So, I mean, if we have a trial by combat, we're hitting him up.
Yeah. Sure. Sign that guy up.
Yeah. So, another thing, we've got a couple cool Patreon updates. I mean, we are going to... We're doing something crazy. We're taking Discord to the next level. So if you've been in Discord and you've seen it's been a little bit quiet recently, that's about to change. We are going to be in there before almost every recording session. I think we'll be in there live in Discord, recording the pre-show, into the Crossroads. So hop in there to that voice channel. We were just in there beforehand doing a little trial run, seeing how it would work, trying to figure it all out. And it actually worked really well, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was able to record your audio and my audio really well and interact with everybody in the chat room. So that'll be at the $1 tier. So if you're listening and you're always like, I don't really know. I like listening to Matt and Ez, and I like the podcast and what have you, but I don't really want to support you guys. I can't support at a certain level on Patreon or whatever. We tried to give you guys something really cool at just the entry level. So at just at $1, you've got the pre-show. You can listen to that beforehand, and again, it's just us messing around, kind of. We talked about
Right.
sports, Captain Planet. What else did we talk about? We were all over
Anything
the
and
place.
everything.
Yeah, it's not. Sometimes I get up and, I run into town and get a coffee. It's crazy. So it's just,
Yeah, literally every time I call Sir
Yeah.
Ezra, and I mean, I'm not joking here. I mean,
Yeah.
I literally every time I call him, I was like, hey man, just like got off work, like, what are you thinking about, for this episode we're gonna do, or
Yeah.
do you see what this guy said in the group? Like, that's really funny. And like within 2 seconds,
Right.
he's always like, hold on a second. And it's like, I'm like, okay, he's driving him, he's talking on the phone or whatever, and then like literally the next lines are like, hi, welcome to Burger King. What would you like?
I've been one dude. Just wait.
How much Burger King
Woo.
and Chipotle and McDonald's do you eat? How much fast food?
Dude, here's the thing. We've thought about starting a fast food podcast just because, like, you talk about it. I mean, number one, I'm a pop connoisseur, which I've said that before. You could
Right.
blindfold me, and I don't care. I'll do this. I would do this on Not a Joke Productions. And
Well, I think we should, because you've said
I'm
it
good.
many times.
I'm good, but I'm too good.
Can you tell the difference between Mountain Dew and Mountain Lightning, like the generic
Abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I mean, literally, I don't mean like, 9 times out of 10 I get it right. I mean 10 times out of 10 times. Like, so try me.
Trial by combat.
Trial, yeah. So, anyways, but yeah, no, like, I think that'd be kind of funny. We're doing the pre-show, and like all of a sudden I roll up, and it's like, "Welcome to the King." It's like, wow, what? I was like, "Can I get a nice coffee?" Dude, by the way, if you haven't tried their iced coffees, they're delicious. I mean, we used to go get French vanilla iced coffees at like McDonald's, like $1. Yeah, well,
Right.
whatever. It's worth the extra $1 at BK.
At Burger King. Yeah,
Dude.
I agree.
It's a sick coffee, man.
I
It's
agree.
actually,
I agree.
and
I agree on that.
I only get that when Starbucks is closed and you call me, that West Coast time, and I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're recording tonight, so let me go get a coffee.
there's a Starbucks not only on every corner, but like, in some people's houses out here. So.
Yeah. Shoot. So, but anyway, so not only at the $1 tier there will you get the pre-show, but you actually get to listen to the episode live. And you can listen as much as you want. You can listen to the first part, and then it's like, I'm going to listen to the rest of it later on when the guys drop it in high quality, high definition onto the whatever your player may be, onto Podbean or onto iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen to podcast. But the cool thing about that is, as we're doing the show, and I told you I was going to do this, Sir Matt. I'm going to do it. Okay, so while we're doing the show, or we're recording it, we're going through, we're in the chapter, we're discussing things. I'm not perfect. Okay. All right, Sir Ezra is watchful, but there was once a time where I was unwatchful, okay? Yeah. So my watch ended for a quick second, and then I had to get back after it. But I was spread too thin, doing too much. Shout out to Lord Adam Parker and those who called me out for it. But those were the days. Those were the memories. But so I'm opening this up here. As we go through the show, and if you're listening live at that $1 tier on Patreon in the Discord chat, and we make a mistake and you call us out, we will see it. We will see your little remarks as we go through the chapter. And let me tell you something right now. You better be right when you call us out, okay? Okay? Because Sir Ezra, well, I'm just kidding. I want everyone to feel comfortable and feel like you can make a correction. And if you're wrong, I will politely tell you that you're wrong, and if I was wrong, then I will.
Well, it's going to be a problem for me because I'm wrong all the time. So.
Well, that's the point. It's fun. I mean, it's a cool way to kind of add to the show. Sir Matt and I've always we've always believed that we wanted people who were listeners to influence the show, to have a good time,
Absolutely.
to feel like your voice was heard here on the show in one way or another. So that's a cool little way to get a lot of our listeners in there. Just at literally just $1 a month. Come on, support us, help us out. And here's the thing. I mean, I'm quitting my job. Okay, so it's happening. Like like I said, it's happening sooner rather than later, and it is known where I'm at that I'm leaving, and that's a good thing for me. So I got to figure out what to do, and I want to keep podcasting. I want to keep creating, doing YouTube. Sir Matt, remember one of our first like Patreon episodes? We were doing like sort of a, what do we call those? We were like, it was like a report where we were kind of like we sat down, we chatted with folks.
Call the banners.
Call the banners. Yeah, we did like an update on where we wanted to go and what our ambitions were and what our goals were.
We need to do another one of those for Clash of Kings.
Yeah, I think just to start off, that would be a good idea. So and we're giving you that update kind of, here, but I think maybe we'll talk to some of our patrons and just kind of go over that because we have some really cool stuff. The website is sick. We've got the next thing up is merch, trying to get more merch to you guys and making sure that we get stuff, to you guys in those reward tiers, which that's in the mail and on its way. And then we have something cool coming up here, around the new year at the start, or 2020, our big kind of launch of a couple things. So anyways, we're excited. I hope you guys are excited, and I hope that you're in on, you're ready to go. You want to jump into Discord, participate, listen. We record on Sundays. Sometimes we record on Saturdays. So it's a nice time if you're out and you're having a good time, you're chilling. You can come chill with us and talk to us in the pre-show, and then listen to the episode live and just have fun. It's just a way to kind of enjoy one another's company and talk about a great series that we love and speculate about the show that's coming up and make connections in the series. We're in a unique spot where, the books are not finished and we get to still kind of make guesses and theorize about what's happening and where things could be going. So,
right. And is it gonna at all tie in with the show too? So I mean, that's, something cool as well.
Right. So anyways, there you go. A little long-winded, but just wanted to go over those updates real quick, but there's probably some more that we had talked about beforehand, but I can't remember any of them. We've been working on so much stuff and trying to get things ready. Like earlier, we were getting our cameras all functioning and ready for Not a Joke Productions. Missing an HDMI cable. Doggone, slam on the guy who stole it from me. So, but anyways, yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing too. If you hop in on we make a lot of inside jokes here on the show. We make little references to certain things. All of that is revealed in the pre-show. We don't hold back. True. We don't hold back. No. And those are recorded, too. We will be recording the pre-show, and at the $1 level, you will get to, if you can't hop in live on Saturday or Sunday and sometimes Fridays, if you can't hop in there, that's fine. We will also record and post that later in the week. So that is happening with the start of our Clash of Kings read through. So, yeah. All right, man. That's all I got. I had to get that all out.
Hey, that's good, man. That's good. It's crazy, man. I'm just sitting here thinking, wow, we're at the end. We're at the end of the first book. It's been a journey. I mean, it's crazy thinking back to, I don't know, the Night's Watch beyond the wall, running into the others.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we've come such a long way, and we've learned even during this reread. It's been unique because we've had the show, and we learned even more, and we were able to add that into some of what we've been reading. So, yeah, I don't know. I knew we would get here, but it was just such a long ways off when we started that I was like, it was hard to see. I don't know. It's the evolution of the podcast is it's crazy and it's fantastic. And we have so many more listeners, and we love all you guys, and we're just super happy that you've joined in and that a lot of people have bought in and decided, hey, we want to pick up with Clash of Kings and keep going. So
yeah,
it's exciting.
All right, man. Well, you want to do it?
Yeah.
Let's do it, man. All right. Daenerys 10, chapter 72. Daenerys builds a funeral pyre for Drogo and places her dragon eggs amongst his treasures. When she attempts to take control of the few remaining Dothraki as a callwood, she is refused. As night falls, Daenerys lights the pyre and is drawn by instinct deep into the inferno. When the pyre dies, the others find her unburnt and nursing her first 3 baby dragons, in hundreds of years.
Holy cow. Yeah, wild. It's we said it last week, like the magic comes back, and I don't know. It's really epic. Something interesting that I noticed in this chapter, I kind of forgot that she ties her to the pyre that Dany has her tied and pours the oil over Mira's head and kind of burns her, and she's singing that song and stuff. I almost wondered if some of what she's singing and saying is a part of the magic, if that's somehow. I mean, I know she says it's sort of like that what she learned was that only life can pay for, or only death can pay for life, and so one of the reasons why she has her burnt there. But it's cool. It's crazy to think when she starts this chapter, she has to be bold and she's got to remember who she is. And even though everybody in her air quote Khalasar is like kind of like, hey, you're kind of doing things outside of the norm here, and this is not really the way it works. She doesn't care. She just kind of she's on a mission. She knows what she's about. She's not a joke.
She's not a joke, man.
No, she's not a joke, man. But yeah, you want to go ahead and read the verse a little bit here?
The land was red and dead and parched, and good wood was hard to come by. Her foragers returned with gnarled cottonwoods, purple brush, sheaves of brown grass. They took the two straightest trees, hacked the limbs and branches from them, skinned off their bark, and split them, laying the logs in a square. Its center they filled with straw, brush, bark shavings, and bundles of dry grass. Ricardo chose a stallion from the small herd that remained to them. He was not the equal of Khal Drogo's red, but few horses were. In the center of the square, Aggo fed him with a withered apple and dropped him in an instant with an axe blow between the eyes. Bound hand and foot, Mira Mazdur watched from the dust with disquit in her black eyes. It is not enough to kill a horse, she told Dany. By itself, the blood is nothing. You do not have the words to make a spell, nor the wisdom to find them. Do you think blood magic is a game for children? You call me magi, as if it were a curse, but all it means is wise. You were a child with a child's ignorance. Whatever you mean to do, it would not work. Loose me from these bonds, and I will help you. And so she says, I am tired of the Magi's braying, Dany told Joko. He took his whip to her, and after that, the god's wife kept silent. Yeah, she's not trying to perform blood magic, although it may be what she actually does.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was kind of my point. I mean, I don't really know. This is all kind of a mystery. I mean, the dragon is awakening in her, and it's this old power in her old blood that is working its magic here. We're gonna have, pretty hot fire, plus we've got some sacrificing going on here. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you do have to have a blood sacrifice. Yeah, that could be part of it. Maybe that's what they were missing at Summerhall. They weren't
well, maybe that's maybe.
So I don't know, but I think it's she is done listening to this lady talk, and she says here in a little bit, you're once she realizes that she's going to be tied to the fire, she's like, you won't hear me scream. We're
about to find out.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes, we are. It's just you remember how we talked in season 8 there, people were talking about, where are some of the signs that Dany is kind of going mad or whatever? I'm not saying that this is a sign that she's going mad, but she definitely has we see not a different side of her, but we see this she's fed up. She's matter of fact.
Yeah, it's one thing to when Jon Snow executes Jaina Slint, it's quick and to the point.
Yeah.
Like no pun intended. This is kind of different. Like, you're gonna die like a slow death and a painful one.
Yeah. Well, and the Targaryens are all about fire. Blood and fire. So
be a dragon, and that's what she does.
Yeah. Fire and blood, man. And then think about their words too. Fire and blood, right? So I don't know. That could be it's all part of this. Her dragons being born and coming back. Now, something that's neat, we see Ser Jorah is really concerned. He thinks that she doesn't see. I don't know. She's keeping all of this close to the chest, and she's not really letting everybody know all of her secrets and what she's been thinking and what's been working on the inside of her.
Yeah. Yeah, they think that hey, we're going to do this and then we're going to move on. No, it's a little different than that.
Yeah, well, and also, Jorah thinks she's going to kill herself. He thinks she's going to get up on that pyre and end her own life, and he's sort of like, there's more than that. He's like, there's more to life. Like, don't give in. And he even references Ahai again and traveling with him across Essos. And
right. Well, so, I also like this line here. He says, "Princess," he began. And Dany says, "Why do you call me that? My brother Viserys was your king. Was he not? He was, my lady. Well, Viserys is dead. I am his heir, the last blood of House Targaryen. Whatever was his is mine. My queen," Ser Jorah says, going to one knee. And that's like a difference. I mean, it's almost like she is a different character now than she really was before. I mean, we see a lot of these characters' arcs. You see like Sansa and Jon and everybody, how they get, they grow up throughout the series. Well, I mean, Daenerys is like way different right now than she was chapters back. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, she's kind of set, and actually that should have been a sign for us that she wants more. She wants to be called queen, and she will be queen, and she will rule. And but he doesn't see it yet. We haven't seen this type of feat or this magic or this whatever. Dragons haven't been around. They're almost like, I don't know. It's odd to think that what she's about to pull off hasn't been seen in, I don't know. Well, it hasn't been that long, really, when you think about it. But I guess, I don't know. She's about to pull off the impossible here, and he just doesn't. None of them see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, he says, he says, "I will not watch you burn," and she says, "Is that what you fear?" Dany kissed him on his forehead. "I am not such a child as that, sweet sir. You do not mean to die with him? You swear it, my queen?" "I swear it," she said in the common tongue. Yeah, she doesn't mean to die.
No, nope. She's got plans. So they talk more about this, the platform, and just building the pyre and all the things that they put on top of it, right? So Khal Drogo, a lot of his weapons and his his tent and everything, all of his possessions kind of go with him. And they were going to put her possessions up, her wedding gifts, right? That was something that they were going to put up there on the pyre with him, and Dany says that she'll need those, so she wants to kind of keep those with her and won't allow those things to be burned. So when she has a purpose for them, for each of them, because she's trying to form her own Khalasar, right? She said, "I see the faces of slaves. I free you. Take off your collars. Go if you wish. No one shall harm you." So right here, she was already looking out after those women who were being, attacked earlier in the fighting when Khal Drogo gets kind of cut and poisoned and stuff, and she saved the witch and some of the other Lamb's people. But now she's really freeing these slaves. So we see that, and that's something she'll continue to do. She said, "But if you stay, it will be as brothers and sisters, husbands and wives." So that probably got their attention. She said, "I see the children, women, and wrinkled faces of the aged. I was a child yesterday. Today I am a woman. Tomorrow I will be old. To each of you I say, give me your hands and your hearts, and there will always be a place for you." And this is where she kind of turns to the three young warriors, and to Jogo she goes over and hands the silver-handled whip, one of her bride gifts, and she names him Ko, and she asks for his oath to live and die as blood of my blood, riding at my side to keep me safe from harm. So they're all hesitant. Each of these three young men are hesitant because he said it would be a shame, it would shame me to be blood rider to a woman. They're gonna have a drastic change of opinion here in a little bit,
right?
Yeah. Their world's about to be turned upside down. They only know what they know, right? It's funny that they always it is known. Well, is it all known? What all do we know?
It's not.
Yeah. So, but each of them has a similar response, right? Ricardo kind of says the same thing. One of them pledges to take her back to Vast Dothrak, to be beneath the Mother of Mountains. with the Dash Kaleen. And that's where he kind of thinks that she should go. That's right. So after Khal Drogo has died, that's where she's supposed to go back to their sacred city and be there with the other women, wives of former Khals, and rule that city. But that is not her place. That's not where she's going. At least not yet. We know from the show and other material that she'll eventually get there one day and cause a ruckus. But yeah, so and then she finally gets to Ser Jorah. First and greatest of my knights, I have no bride gift to give you, but I swear to you, one day you shall have my hands. You shall have from my hands a long sword like none the world has ever seen, dragon forged and made of Valyrian steel, and I would ask for your oath as well. And he's simply kneeling. You have it, my queen. I vow to serve you, to obey, to die for you if need be. Whatever may come, he answers. So,
yeah. and I shall hold you to that oath, as well.
Yeah. And really he does become, he's extremely important to her.
You are the first of my queen's guard, she says.
Yep. So, it's cool. I always root for him so hard. He's just he got a kiss on the forehead earlier, and he says that that earlier Viserys, even though he's dead, that he had his sword, but he never had his heart, and that she does. That he would do anything for her. Essentially, he makes that clear that it's not just about having his sword or his loyalty or whatever. She has more than that. Yeah, she can command him. She has almost like a stronger bond or connection to Ser Jorah. So,
yeah. And I like that. So this is when she starts walking away, right? And she's thinking about all of this stuff. She's like, if I look back, I'm lost. Mm-hmm. So it's like she knows what she has to do, and when she's doing that whole speech and going around giving everyone her thing, she knows she can't. Like and immediately the first guy's like, well, I can't, I won't work for, he's like, I can't ride with a woman, Jogo, when she's talking to Jogo, but if she were to give up there, the whole thing would be over. So sure. I just I like that we do get that internal, like, if I look back, I'm lost line, just so she can think about it, so. Yeah. It says her bath was scalding hot when Irri helped her into the tub, but Dany did not flinch or cry aloud. She liked the heat. It made her feel clean. Jiqui had scented the water with oils she had found in the market of Vaes Dothrak. The steam rose moist and fragrant. Like, she's getting ready. Like, she knows. Like, Dany knows what's about to happen, and how the warmth is like her ally. It's her friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's another reminder to her for sure. Yeah. Well, so all this preparation is happening, and she's also preparing her husband for. She kind of washes and cleans his body after her handmaidens leave. But one thing you mentioned that I don't want to forget, she does this a lot, and she'll do this in the next book, is she has to prepare for, like, she kind of knows that when she gives that order, or she tells, she creates her own blood riders and is creating her Queen's Guard, that initially, if she were a man, people would have reacted differently. It is known how they would react and what they would do. It is not known how they're going to react to her, and she has to have this stoic kind of face, and she is anticipating that they are not going to react either kindly or in the way that she wants, and so she kind of has to, like, be ready for that and then just keep moving on. That's what I love about that line is, like, as you said, if I look back, I am lost. There's no looking back. They're not going to, whatever they do is not going to cause her to react in a way that's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. It's like, no, here we are, I'm moving forward, I am the queen, I rule, what I say goes, and that's it. And I'm not changing. I'm not wavering.
So, okay, here's a question for you, just because I'm kind of thinking about it and thinking about the parallel. Yep. Who do you think, like, in kind of comparing her to Cersei, right? Because, Cersei tells people to do all the time, and they listen, right? Because she's the queen, and it's just easy, even after Robert's dead and Joffrey's the king. But Cersei is in this position where she has power, and everyone listens to her, but she has to manage it through, Tywin and Joffrey and Tommen, Whereas Daenerys has to struggle a lot harder at first, and then even really once Dany is in power, she's not really taken seriously. So who do you think has it harder?
Yeah, I think Dany does for sure, because one, she doesn't have that. Because even if you were a high lady, just like within the Lannister family or the Starks or whoever, like
it's ingrained in the system.
When you speak, you're. Yeah, I mean, like Arya and Sansa, even being children, know that they can say, "Well, my father is Hand of the King," and so on, and so she doesn't have that. And then two, she's over in Essos, which everything there is a little different. It's just a little, not backwards, but it's like she really there's. I don't know. She's working. Well, the Dothraki themselves are also very different from even maybe the politics and the culture and stuff in the free cities, because they were treated kind of, well, kindly. Their name carried a lot of weight in the free cities, and they were given things and allowed to stay for free and whatever. And hopefully that kindness that was showed to them would be rewarded later on when they came into their own, or if someone ever put them in a position of power. But yeah, I kind of still think she has it harder. And I think just because of the path she took here with the Dothraki and having to make something out of that and figure out how to get back to civilization. And
yeah, I mean, once she has her dragons,
it
becomes certainly a little bit easier. But yeah,
sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess, yeah. It's still hard for a long way. I think if you look at, like, I guess if you're comparing her just to Cersei, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it would be harder for Cersei if she were in Dany's shoes and didn't have dragons. Yeah, but so I think it's just harder for Dany because of the path she takes, and being an orphan and being the last of her bloodline, sort of the last dragon, being in a foreign land, and now losing her Khal Drogo and everything. I mean, right where she's at right now, she has nothing. She just has these dragon eggs and a couple, maybe really Ser Jorah saying, he would truly, I think, even if the dragons don't hatch, he's going to stay with her and he would follow her to the ends of the world. The others, I don't know that they would. They're going to need some convincing, and that's what she's going to provide here in just a few pages. But I don't know. Well, I mean, I think it's harder for.
Yeah,
for
I don't know.
Dany
I kind of
still.
go back and forth a little, just because I think once Dany has the dragons, it's a game changer, and Cersei's struggles, ultimately ends up coming with the faith, and it's like she has, like, Dany has outright power where she can at least tell people, well, we're about to see what's going to happen, whereas Cersei can sometimes say, like, we're about to see what happens, but it still has to go through, like Tyrion or whoever, or whatever. So I don't know. It's just interesting. It's just interesting to think about the difference in, like, power between those two characters.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I don't know. The crazy thing is too, like, we like Dany more. I mean, I think Cersei has her moments, but it's, for right now, we're so hardcore rooting for Dany that yeah. We might overlook some of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I'm kind of saying. So, all right. So let's keep going here. I mean, so she's preparing Khal Drogo, right? She's kind of thinking about the first time that they were together, and thinking about how the first time that she touched him, and that their wedding night and being under the sky and all that good stuff. We do hear there are several references to the bells.
Mm-hmm.
So many bells,
I know,
gold
man.
and
I keep
silver and
saying
bronze. Yeah. Bells, so his enemies would hear him coming and grow weak with fear. She dressed him in horsehair leggings and high boots, buckling a belt of heavy gold and silver medallions about his waist. So, yeah, just kind of getting him ready, putting everything on him, preparing him to be burned, as is the way with the Dothraki and the Targaryens. So here we go. Yeah, they laid him down on the cushions and the silks, his head towards the Mother of Mountains, far to the northeast. Oil, she commanded, and they brought forth jars and poured them over the pyre. soaking the silks and the brush and the bundles of dry grass until the oil trickled from beneath the logs and the air was thick with fragrance. "Bring my eggs," she commanded. Her handmaidens rushed forward with the eggs. Sir Jorah, he took her arm. "My queen, Drogo will have no use for the dragon eggs in the Nightlands. Better to sell them in Asshai." So he thinks they're going to be destroyed if you put them in the fire. And we already saw her kind of save her wedding gifts and pass those on and use those. So it's like, why would you then put the eggs in there? So, yeah. "They were not given to me to sell," she told him. So she climbed the pyre herself to place the eggs around her sun and stars, the black beside his heart, under his arm, the green beside his head, his braid coiled around it, the cream and gold down between his legs. When she kissed him for the last time, Dany could taste the sweetness of the oil on his lips. So, yeah. Man, I don't know. Is there any correlation between where those eggs are placed around Drogo? Is one smarter, one's closer to the heart. I don't know. But as she climbs off, though, she notices that Mira is watching her and wants to know if she's mad. Are you mad? So we talked about the madness, and little tiny references to maybe her going crazy or mad are mentioned here. I mean, I guess you would, if you were watching this and you don't know what's about to happen, it does seem kind of crazy. It does seem a little bit like, what are you doing? This is stupid. We could sell those, or why wouldn't you just keep those? Why are you going to burn them? It all seems nuts.
Yeah, and then Dany pours the oil over the woman's head herself. And she says, "I thank you, Mira Mazder, for the lessons you have taught me. And then you will not hear me scream. I will."
Yeah. Yeah, she will. Yeah. Well, one line too here that's really key. When she's calling her mad and she's talking about that, she says, "Is it so far from madness to wisdom?" What's
but
the,
right here though, it's like, I want. She says, "But it's not your screams I want, only your life. I remember what you told me. Only death can pay for life." So, do you think Mira Mazder knows that the dragons, like, is it just because Dany stands with them in the fire, and the fire wakes them up, and it's like, she's there with them, almost think about like a chicken. I mean, I don't know how this works, but the chicken lays on the eggs, right? And then like, you gotta like heat them up or whatever. Yeah. Is it something like that, right? Yeah.
That's like, is Daenerys going in there?
You know what I mean? It's like a chicken. I don't know. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Think about it. Was like the heat, right? It's like the heat's what,
Yeah. But I mean, fire and blood, right? I think she's gathering to that this blood sacrifice is important as well. And right now, everyone thinks too maybe that she's trying to bring back Khal Drogo. I don't know if they know that she killed him or that she really euthanized him. But it seems like they think that's what she's trying to do, and really she has this crazy idea to hatch these dragon eggs. So
what's interesting though.
Yeah,
I mean, so then you go on a little bit here. It says, she talks about when a horse lord dies, his horse is slain with him, so he might ride proud into the Nightlands. The bodies are burned beneath the open sky, and the Khal rises on his fiery steed to take his place among the stars. The more fiercely the man burned in his life, the brighter the star will shine in the darkness. Drogo spied it first. "There," he said in a hushed voice. Dany looked and saw it low in the east. The first star was a comet burning red, blood red, fire red, the dragon's tail. She could not have asked for a stronger sign. So a big misconception is a lot of people think, oh, well, the comet comes because of the dragons. Like, it's like the dragons awake and then the comet comes. No. In the show, that's how they portray it, right? That's when it starts. Hey, there's the comet, and everyone thinks, Stannis thinks it's for him. Joffrey thinks it's for him.
Yeah.
I think it's because Jon Snow goes into the north, and then that's because it clearly happens here before the dragons, not the other way around. Which a lot of people there's a misconception there from if you were to just watch the show.
Yeah, and what it says right there, right, that she sees this as a
maybe
strong
maybe that's a coincidence.
And
maybe it's like, the comet does mean something, and you like maybe that's what, like at Summerhall when they tried to wake the eggs, maybe had there been a red comet, then maybe that would have happened, because everyone always says a red comet only means one thing: dragons.
Yeah, I mean, so whatever the stirring is in this Targaryen blood, back clear back to Daenerys the Dreamer and all of these Targaryens who have, I don't know if you call it powers, but they've got like dragon dreams and green dreams, whatever you want to call it. Dany is like, maybe this comet coming back is sort of what is helping the dragon to awake in her, and so that you could make that case that it's a rival, is even though she's been, realizing that the scalding water doesn't burn her, and that she's the unburnt. Maybe maybe that comet has some crazy power, or it causes something. I don't know. Who knows? But it is neat, because that is a misconception, I think. Yeah, sometimes people think that it's the dragons or whatever, something that Dany did that brought the comet or whatever. But it's just a sign. It's a correlation. Yeah, to kind of. So she sees that as a good sign, and then takes one of the torches there and just lights this bad boy on fire. And you've got Mira Mazder in there. Just she's tied up. She begins to sing in a shrill voice, and the flames are whirling around, and eventually, this is terrible, but they end up kind of consuming her, and her song grew louder and shriller, and then eventually, the screaming does take place, and it's full of agony, and it's terrible. And now the flames reached her Drogo, and now they were all around him. His clothing took fire, and for an instant the cowl was clad in wisp of floating orange silk and tendrils of curling smoke, gray and greasy. Dany's lips parted, and she found herself holding her breath. Part of her wanted to go to him as Ser Jorah had feared, to rush into the flames, to beg for his forgiveness, and take him inside her one last time, the fire melting the flesh from their bones until they were as one forever. She could smell the odor of burning flesh, no different than horse flesh roasting in a fire pit. The pyre roared in the deepening dusk like some great beast, drowning out the fainter sound of Mira Mazder's screaming, and sending up long tongues of flame to lick at the belly of the night. As the smoke grew thicker, the Dothraki backed away, coughing. Huge orange gouts of fire unfurled their banners in the hellish wind, the logs hissing and crackling, glowing cinders rising on the smoke to float away into the dark like so many newborn fireflies. The heat beat at the air with great red wings, driving the Dothraki back, driving off even Mormont. But Dany stood her ground. She was the blood of the dragon, and the fire was in her. Mm-hmm. So that heat doesn't... I almost think she doesn't notice that it's getting hotter, and that the press, that it's, to everyone else, it's like they're like, oh boy, we gotta back up here. But I don't think maybe if she sees them backing up, she would back up. But to her, there's no indication like, oh yeah, this is getting too hot, we should probably back away. So, yeah. It's just, it's crazy. So she's looking at this.
She's thinking about the fire, and she's talking about how it's like it seems like a dance, right? Like the wedding too. This is a wedding too. She says, the god's wife thought her a child, but children grow and children learn. And Dany comes to love the fire, right? I mean, here she's talking about it. So, the flames were so beautiful, the loveliest things she had ever seen. Each one a sorcerer robed in yellow and orange and scarlet, swirling long, smoky cloaks. She saw crimson fire lions and great yellow serpents and unicorns made of pale blue flame. When she saw fish and foxes and monsters and wolves and bright birds and flowering trees, each more beautiful than the last. She saw a horse, a great stallion, limed in smoke, its flowing mane a nimbus of blue flame. Yes, my love, my sun and stars. Yes, mount now, ride now. Her vest had begun to smolder, so Dany shrugged it off and let it fall to the ground. The painted leather burst into sudden flame as she skipped closer to the fire, her breast bare to the ablaze, streams of milk flowing from her red and swollen nipples. Now she thought, now and an instant she glimpsed Khal Drogo before her, mounted on his smoky stallion, a flaming lash in his hand. He smiled, and a whip snaked down at the pyre, hissing. She heard a crack, the sound of shattering stone. The platform of wood and brush and grass began to shift and collapse in upon itself. Bits of burning wood slid down at her, and Dany was showered with ash and cinders. And something else came crashing down, bouncing and rolling to land at her feet, a chunk of carved rock, pale and veined with gold, broken and smoking. The roaring filled the world, yet dimly through the firefall. Dany heard women shriek and children cry out in wonder. Only death can pay for life.
Yeah, pretty wild. I mean, so the cracks that we keep hearing, so there'll be a third crack here, right? We're hearing, the starting of the pyre kind
as
of
well
falling
as the
in on
eggs
itself
beginning to open
and everything. And yes, right, yeah, man, yeah, because it's described right there, pale veined with gold, broken and smoking, and then we have. Oh, man, and she's starting to think too, she can almost hear Ser Jorah yelling and calling and cursing. Right, he can't get to her. He can't do anything to kind of stop her because, I mean, he's not fire resistant or whatever. So she's like, can't you see? Can't you see what's happening here? The fire is mine. It's like this madness. Call it what it is. It's madness. It just consumed her. The flames. I mean, it's. I think about the madness too later on we see in season 8, like all the flames around, all this stuff, it's just, she's already attacking the city. It's, I don't know, the bells and the, it's crazy. But, something drew her into this, into this fire and drew her near, these dragons that are hatching from these eggs. So, when the fire died at last and the ground became cool enough to walk upon, Ser Jorah found her amidst the ashes, surrounded by blackened logs and bits of glowing ember, and the burnt bones of a man and woman and a stallion. She was naked, covered with soot, her clothes turned to ash, her beautiful hair all crisped away. Yet she was unburnt, unhurt. And then that's when he sees, the cream and gold dragon was suckling at her left breast, the green and bronze at the right. Her arms cradled them close. The black and scarlet beast was draped across her shoulders. Whew. Man. Yeah. I mean, he's wordless. He falls to his knees, and all the men came up behind him. Oh, they lay down their weapons. Blood of my blood. They're all kind of murmuring that as they show up. I think they're just blown away, right? Like, what do you do? I mean, they've watched her. I mean, it took a while for that to cool down. It wasn't. It happens quick here for us, but they probably watched her in there burning for a while, and her clothes burn off, and she is unburnt. And I can almost imagine maybe you heard the dragons there. You heard the cracking. You probably thought it was logs at first, and when everything kind of dies down, as it's dying down, they have time to process and go, holy cow, she is still alive, and there are other creatures in there with her. Just crazy, man. As Daenerys Targaryen rose to her feet, she her black hissed, pale smoke venting from its mouth and nostrils. The other two pulled away from her breast and added their voices to the call. Translucent wings unfolding and stirring the air, and for the first time in hundreds of years, the night came alive with the music of dragons. Yeah. So we had Mira singing her spells and her crazy song there, and now we have the this Song of Fire starting. We'll have a Song of Ice and Fire, right? It's the whole series, but now we've got these dragons that are alive, and what are we gonna do? So
crazy.
Yep. Oh my gosh! Any thoughts?
Yeah, I just think when you look there and you look at Dany, her evolution as a character. You know, in one thing, I mean, just in trying to find some justification for, you know, season 8, you know, she's in, you know, almost like the fire gives her power, and, you know, she's talking about like, oh, you will, right? Like almost getting like enjoyment. I think you could say, about, you know, killing Mary Mazder. So I just think it's something to think about, you know, for, because the people I think there's a lot of not justification, but a lot of foreshadowing is the word I'm looking for. And I think you can look right here and say, you know, if this is the route they go down in the books for Dany's kind of what seems like a sudden shift to a lot of people, thinking, oh man, I don't know, I'd look right here and look at it a little differently, perhaps.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate too, and I have to say this because I'm thinking about it here as it concerns Daenerys. Like in the books, something that George kind of prides himself on is laying a real subtle sort of like the real subtle hints. On the first read through, it's like maybe if you were really reading close, you'd get it, but it takes a second time and you're like, oh, that's starting to come out a little bit clearer, and then a third read through and you're like, wow, look at all these different references, the bells and the, you know, fire and blood, and he just weaves so many different things into his writing, but we haven't seen, it's not finished, so we really don't know how all these little breadcrumbs are going to grow and evolve and fit together. It's really unfortunate because the show, people can say, well, it's abrupt and it feels like this just happened out of nowhere. We don't think it's going to happen that way in the books, and I don't necessarily think it's the show's fault that that happened. It's like that's where he wants to take it, and maybe they could have done a better job earlier on of showing how of her being a little bit, you know, crazier and stuff. But you only have so much time, and it's a TV adaptation, and it's just. But there are some of those breadcrumbs, and I think now that we know this is the unique position we said that we're in, now that we've seen season 8 and we kind of understand maybe where George is going to go, we can look at it and say, let's look for the references to Bran becoming king. Let's look at references for Dany going mad and crazy. I don't think I ever would have made the connection with the bells had we not have seen, right? I don't think we would have been talking about that if we wouldn't have seen the TV show. I mean, so yeah, it's really crazy that's where we're at. But yeah, anyways, it's awesome. It's neat, and it's cool that I can only imagine when you first started reading this, and I'd love to get somebody on who was there in the beginning and who read the first book of Game of Thrones and had to wait for Clash of Kings to come out. I wonder what their thoughts were, you know? Just like it could go anywhere. There's so many little references and stuff to, like when in this chapter Ser Jorah is mentioning the places that they can go. Yeti, Karth, he mentions Ahai, and it's like he mentions another two or three more, and it's like they could go to any of those places, but George had in his mind that they would go to the city of Karth, and that's where they're going to go. And so he mentions Ahai so many different times. We never end up getting there. We never end up going there, but people come from that city, and it's just it's crazy to think about what's going on in his head when he was writing this, and then just how it's evolved. The characters of, I thought, and I've said this, like when we got into A Dance of Dragons, I'm like, holy cow, you know, you're introducing new characters and new contenders for the throne and stuff. This thing's never going to end. This is just, it's wild. But yeah, it's epic, and that's why, because we talked, was the last week we mentioned that A Clash of Kings is going to be, the cast just sort of expands, and we're going to have a lot more houses to track down and connections. And, you know, actually, in A Clash of Kings, you actually start to notice a couple, not mistakes, but you notice some issues with the houses and who's still kind of, one of them we were talking about in the Patreon series, Robert Baratheon, not his father, but his grandfather or grandmother, one of them being alive, and House Estermont, and like a mistake is made later on in the books, and it's like there's just it starts to get so big and expansive that I don't know, it's hard to keep track of. Yeah. So
yeah, man, it's about to get so much bigger, Sir Ezra. I mean, immediately the next chapter we're going to be in, everything changes. You know, we're going to be talking about the Red God R'hllor and Stannis Baratheon and Patchface and and how I mean this is kind of it, right? I mean, up until this point, we haven't really seen a lot of magic, really, and all that changes right here with this chapter, and it really sets the tone for like the rest of the series.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it's exciting. Can't wait to get into it. Now just a quick little update since we finished there. We have a Raven and a couple of things to get to here, but moving forward, this week Sir Matt's actually going to be back in Ohio for a little bit, so we're going to do some recording and some podcasting business and different things like that. We talked about all those updates at the top of the show, and we're going to iron some of that out this week. So be ready for that. We will be recording some Clash of Kings episodes ahead of time. We're going to try to record in advance. So we're going to take a week or two here, and we're going to actually announce. Well, we had Raven's Nest coming up. We wanted to make that announcement. We'll make it in the Facebook group as well. But Raven's Nest is going to be. We're going to have like a discussion over the book and just like a big Game of Thrones book discussion with our bannermen. And when did you want to do that, Sir Matt?
Raven's Nest. Well, it can't be, unfortunately, this coming Sunday because I will not be back yet. I'm saying Sunday the 13th.
Okay, yeah, October 13th.
Let me take a look here.
On the fly council
Sunday
meeting,
the
business meeting here. Okay, cool. So we'll try to do that on the 13th. Have our Raven's Nest, so we'll kind of have a week there, and then we'll so you guys might be 2 weeks without something. We'll have some Patreon content that's coming out though for you guys to kind of tide you guys over. We'll hold Raven's Nest on the 13th, and then get that out to you that week, and then the following week we will start a Clash of Kings. So we're recording that and getting that ready. If you're interested in hopping into some of the Patreon episodes, or you want to listen live, like I said, this is the week to go figure that out. Hop into, head over to patreon.com/bend the knee, hop into the $1 tier. That's it. And go from there. There's a bunch of other cool stuff. We've got a lot of people in on Patreon, so there's other rewards, other tiers. Our Harrenhal series has been great. We just posted that this past weekend. So, that's there for you to enjoy. Anything that we've actually ever posted beforehand.
You get access as soon as you join. Yep.
Once you, Yep. So just kind of getting ready for that. Trying to think here, other things. Because we will be recording this week, so we're going to have a couple pre-show sessions. If you guys want to get in there and have some fun, this week, and then this weekend. Since Sir Matt is going to be back, we're going to have a lot of fun and just get some recording done. So be sure to hop in there. The only way you can get into the Discord is through Patreon. I mean, there is a general sort of anybody can hop in and kind of get in the text chats, but then the voice channels are Patreon exclusive. So make sure you guys go check that out. Okay, now we're going to move into Send a Raven, right? We were talking to Maglum before the show, and we have a Raven by him pulled up here. Sir Matt, is it okay?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
Dive into that. Okay. So, let's see here. Yeah, Truth Cuts Deepest. Boy, here he is. So I've heard a lot of people saying that they loved Jon's King in the North scene in the show, but I actually forgot about it. Rob's scene stuck with me more personally, and here's why I think that is. After hearing the latest chapter reread and your thoughts, for Rob, following after his father that's his whole way of life. Heck, the whole reason he dies is because he is trying to live up to Ned's standard or his conduct, the way that he conducts himself, sacrificing his own honor for the sake of Jane Westerling. So him becoming a leader to all the North, one held in a higher position than his own father, feels like a dream come true for him in a way. It's a milestone in his goals to live up to his father's legacy. Jon really doesn't have that same drive in his story. Yeah, and that's a good point, right? I mean, so Rob is he is. I mean, we know Rob as a Stark. I mean, he is. That is his father. He is the heir. next up in line. So John's reluctant, yeah. But so yeah. In book 1, he's all about being recognized as a legitimate Stark and getting past being seen as a bastard by the time even just book 5 has ended. It's different. He's gone through so much with the Night's Watch, the Free Folk, Ygritte, Lord Commander Mormont, Sam, Mance, and others have expanded his worldview. They've helped him to realize that family is more than blood and honor is something that you can define. His arc is centralized around these people, not the Northern Lords. That's a big part of the reason he rejects the offer of the false king, Stannis Baratheon, to become a legitimate Stark. Holy cow. That was a mistake. I don't know.
Maglam, we've talked about it.
I think it's a typo. He had more important concerns looking after his new family and trying to stop the others. His world expanded. Some might say it was for honor's sake, but remember, book 1, Jon was willing to throw away honor and reputation for the Starks. Book 5, Jon is not the same. He is not willing to do that. So I found it far more satisfying to see him elected as Lord Commander than I did to see him called King in the North. Wow. Yeah. Because the Lord Commander as a title means more, in my opinion, since those Northern Lords seem keen to throw the title of King at anyone with Stark blood, whereas you really have to earn the position of Lord Commander based on merit. Just a thought. Thought I'd share my ramblings. Hope you enjoyed. And then we have a knighting ceremony coming up for him here in just a little bit. But I don't know. What thoughts, Sir Matt, just on... I mean, first, I know you're irritated about the Stannis comment, but try to look past that.
Hey, it's okay. I mean, technically speaking, Stannis Baratheon is and get ready, because, when I think about, I still go back to it, and we're still very thankful for it, and I say it all the time. We love constructive criticism here. We do talk about Bloodraven a lot, but if you think we talk about Bloodraven a lot, just wait until we get to Clash of Kings, because about every other word out of my mouth is going to be Stannis Baratheon. But no, back to what he's saying here. Yeah, I mean, I think that he's right about the honor behind the Lord Commander, and that you do have to be chosen, and it is still, at least in the North, viewed as this kind of more honorable position. And then he's right. With it does seem like, here's I don't care. In the Jon scene. He's like, I don't care if his last name's Stark. I don't care if his last name's Snow or he's a bastard. Ned Stark's blood runs through him, and he's my king, from this day until his end of days.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's different though. I mean, I think I like what Magum said in that it's when you think of it from Rob's point of view and what he was going through and where he was coming from. That this is a huge goal for him. He was trying to really live up to do things as his father as his father would do, and it ends up, I mean, they enjoy his leadership so much that they name him King of Winter, King of the North. I kind of think that would have happened to Eddard if he were in the same position, right? I mean, that's sort of like that could have happened. I'm actually surprised now that I think about the Harrenhal series that we've been doing. I know Robert Baratheon was the one that they were kind of putting forward. That's something we talked about in that Southern Ambitions alliance. But it's like, man, the kings of winter are kind of a big deal. It's like, maybe that's it makes more sense since Robert's like, from the South and stuff, but it has the ties to the Targaryens. But yeah, they're a big deal. And so it's just kind of cool that that by trying to live up to his father's standard, it ends up propelling him to king. So good thoughts. All right. Cool beans. Well, here we go. So we have a knighting ceremony for Maglam. We're going to go ahead and play that for you guys now. So take a listen.
I, Maglam, Westwood Warlock and Master of the Star Arcana, vow to bestow all my strength unto you. May my glamours hide you from those who would harm you. May my curses cripple your foes. May my scrying be the lens to reveal what is to come, and may my wisdom help you find the path forward. From this day forth, I am your man. I swear this by the eternal will of the undying. Let us unravel the greater mysteries and seek the truth within.
So there you have it. That was it's really cool to hear
Yeah.
Magnum's voice, right? To hear we hear him in Raven's Nest, and it's just kind of neat to hear, somebody come on and I haven't had that in a while. Someone come on and swear their oath, take their vows, and it's cool. So yeah, if you guys want to, you can head over to Patreon, and we do those knighting ceremonies. It'd be kind of cool to hear your voices on the show. Just kind of neat to get those audio clips. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've only had a handful of people do those kind of knighting ceremonies. I mean, it is something, if you guys want to do, so you can shoot us those. We do have the Gmail call in. You can do that. Call us in at that number, and we can do voice clips there as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So lots of. I mean, I think when you go compare our Patreon page to other people's, it's like, I don't know. We have a lot there, a lot of different stuff. So it's cool. We try to give you guys as much access to the show as we can. And if you guys, want to send a Raven or you want to send an audio clip, we'll do our very best to play it, because we want you to have to be able to influence the show and make this. It's cool for us, because it helps us sometimes. And one of the best things about Fall Up Friday was that we were all over the series, and we were learning so much and everything, and so we might bring a segment back like that in A Clash of Kings. A lot of times people are sending Ravens just specific to the chapter or, the section of the book that we're in, but we might do something fun, whether it's on Patreon or in the main show, to get us bouncing back around the series, because I like that. I thought that was fun, but
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
So, anyways.
All right, well, Sir Ezra, I mean, how do we even end this show, man? We got to come up with like a new show. Are we still thanking people for playing the Game of Thrones, or are we, fighting amongst ourselves in the Clash of Kings?
Yeah, I don't have the. Well, for now, yeah, there's still. I guess we've played the Game of Thrones, if you will, and then we're gonna have to come up with something maybe slightly different. I guess we'll have to. Well, we said before the show we're gonna have to scrap the whole outline and start fresh. Come up with a new outline.
It's got to be different. It's got to be new and compelling and just better, man. We've also talked about the idea of it may no longer just be Sir Matt the Bud Knight and Sir Ezra the Watchful. We've always joked about possibly adding titles as we go along. So I don't know. We'll see when we come back for A Clash of Kings. So, for one last time here, we will thank you for playing the Game of Thrones. In our next episode, we will be discussing A Clash of Kings prologue.
Yeah, we will. If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, leave a comment, or send us a raven at btkcast@gmail.com.
We will see you in a couple weeks, and remember that winter is coming.